In today's class, we'll be learning about biotechnology and its applications with relation to medicine. While learning about biotechnology and its applications into medicine, there is one very important term which is termed as bioethics. You have learned about biopiracy, also known about biopatenting. Now, what exactly does the word bioethics mean? Now, bioethics refers to moral principles and standards. What are the moral responsibilities and what are the moral standards which normally is associated with people-centered thinking? So, when we are talking about moral principles and standards of communities, we have different sort of people with different races and different communities, different customs, attitudes, religions, perceptions and history. So, if you are looking in terms of how do communities regulate, how do they regulate themselves, how do they behave and how do they decide about biotechnology issues, then we talk in terms of bioethics. Like you take the case of slaughtering of pigs, or you take talk the method of slaughtering of dogs primarily for producing human insulin. So, this comes under the domain of a bioethic. So, how do communities regulate and change their behavior and decide about which activities are legitimate or which activities are illegitimate? So, this entire process is termed as bioethics. So, in bioethics, we are talking in terms of how can we regulate a sort of a biotechnological process, what are the perceptions of people with relation to a biotechnological process. Supposing you present a person with a genetically engineered tomato and an organic tomato and a traditionally conventionally grown tomato, how do the people take in transgenic tomatoes? I mean, once you know the benefits of transgenic tomatoes and when you know about the safety issues, it's very easy to consume it it's easy to consume, and as well as it has got a lot of market acceptability. So, thereby in India, because there is a lot of issues with relation to biotechnology, we have a genetically engineering approval committee, which is termed as GEAC. The GEAC at New Delhi takes decisions about what is the validity of the GM research. That is, what is true about it, how scientific it is, and to what particular extent does it really hold water. So, it primarily relates to the validity of the GM research, how long, for what duration, how much, and what is going to be the impact. And it also studies on the second level, it studies about the safety of introduction of genetically modified organisms. How safe are the genetically modified organisms? So, it looks in terms of validity, as well as it also looks in terms of safety of the introducing genetically modified organisms, especially for public services. In terms of what is the sort of an acceptance of the sort of a public, it looks into these particular committees. So, it's very important that if biotechnology has got to succeed in India, it should be worked in terms of the perceptions of the communities, it should be worked in terms of the perceptions of the scientists, in terms of the quality of the human life, and with the approval of the GEAC. And so thereby it is truly challenging that when a sort of a biotechnology tailored research goes into the sort of a market or goes into the wide world, its acceptance depends upon primarily on bioethics as well as approval by the GEAC.